Hey everyone, I'm Holden, and today I'll be giving you my impressions on Halo 5 for the Xbox One. The Halo franchise is essentially the only reason I own any Xbox console. I got the Reach 360 when that came out, and I bought the Xbox One just to continue the series. The story was what really pulled me in, as the idea of humanity losing a huge war against many alien species was deeply interesting to me. With that in mind, I'm not going to be talking about the multiplayer aspects of the game. If that's what you're interested in, this review isn't for you. The one thing I will say about multiplayer though, is how detrimental its focus has been to the single player experience. To justify having a 4-person team, you're forced to fight a much larger number of enemies than usual. That's it. The enemies aren't any harder, they're just in greater numbers. There isn't a single point in the game where I really felt like I needed anyone else, except when I needed reviving, which is a system which was clumsily forced into the game just for that purpose. There isn't even a real storyline reason for the teams to exist. Besides Buck, there are no characters in either team which stand out at all. There's nothing behind the characters to flesh them out or make you care, they're just flimsy excuses for the 4-player co-op. You're clearly meant to play the game with other people, as the AI partners just aren't good enough to support you in single player. Often the AI will simply stay in one place unless directed where to go, but even if you do give them instruction, they're frequently ignored. I'd regularly find myself replaying the same section over and over because I'd go into my down state and the AI would not revive me. At some of the higher difficulties, it's made the game almost unplayable. Also, please never let them drive a vehicle. It just doesn't work. I would have loved to have had local multiplayer be an option, as this would have alleviated the AI problems at least somewhat, but this was removed from the game to allow it to reach a consistent 60 frames per second. While the frame rate is smooth, the same smoothness cannot be said of the animations. At some distances and during cutscenes, movements become jerky and irregular. It doesn't ruin the game by any means, but it's noticeable enough that it can get annoying. As for the story itself, it's based around two teams. Fireteam Osiris, headed by Locke, and Blue Team, led by series staple Master Chief. Each chapter alternates between the two teams, undertaking parallel missions which eventually have competing objectives. You begin as Osiris, fighting through a planet to kill the new leader of the Covenant and rescue Dr. Holden. This mission serves to introduce the new mechanics to the player, but does little to remind you of anything else. I found this kind of annoying, as I hadn't touched a Halo game since 4, so I did have some trouble at first remembering the controls. There are also some really cool cutscenes during this level, which I can't help but feel would have been better as gameplay. This isn't the only time I had to watch something I'd rather have played either. After completing this chapter, your control moves to that of Blue Team, where we notice the next major problem with the game. It barely feels any different whether you're controlling Locke or Master Chief. Both characters have the same skills, with only minor differences in the starting weapons. This seems like a missed opportunity to me to reinforce the different backgrounds of the two characters. During this chapter, Blue Team are sent to recover a lost ship, the Argent Moon. While on the ship, Master Chief is contacted by Cortana, who tells him where she is and talks of the beginning of the reclamation. Blue Team scuttle the ship, and then essentially desert the UNSC by disobeying their orders and setting off on their own to find Cortana. Throughout the game, you are constantly fighting the same enemies over and over. There is only one boss in the game, which you fight 11 times. Everything just feels so similar and bland. One section that really brings this home is when Blue Team is transported to a Forerunner planet that no one has been to for eons, except the Covenant are there. There is an explanation for this, but it just feels like an excuse to not have to put as much thought into the area. The only interesting things are the environments you traverse, but even these are barely worth mentioning, as the few that are legitimately interesting are used multiple times. What are interesting though are the mechanical changes from the previous entries in the series. Spartans have 3 new movement mechanics, which are infinite sprinting, a slide which I didn't use once, and clamber, probably the most often used mechanic, which makes you climb up ledges. There are also a few new combat mechanics. The ground pound is used when in the air and lets you drive down to the ground below you, doing damage to everything in the area. Spartan charge happens when you use a melee attack while sprinting and allows you to do greater damage to enemies or smash through walls. My favourite new mechanic though occurs when aiming down sights when in the air. This activates your jetpack to slow your descent, giving you greater control of aim and position while jumping. There is one mechanic though which I absolutely detest, and it is also the mechanic which is most integral to the game. 343 have added the new Artemis system, which, while it does have other uses such as highlighting enemies and ammo and healing teammates, was mainly used to show me where to go. This is a strictly worse system than the old waypoints, especially in the more generic areas. The new waypoints are on screen for a very short time, sometimes not even long enough for you to see, and they are also coloured in a shade of orange which somehow manages to blend into the background almost constantly in some levels. All of my previous complaints though pale in comparison to the main problem. Halo 5 is short. It's so short that I barely think it was worth releasing. To illustrate my point, I'm going to show you Mission 9 in its entirety.
Guns down, Osiris. We're guests here.
Locke, I have a briefing prepared. Given Cortana's show of power, I am reluctant to discuss it over open channels.
Understood, Doctor. We're on our way.
Over here, Osiris. I have located a means to activate the Guardian.
You have something for us, man?
This is a constructor, a Forerunner tool I can use to interface with the Guardian. Constructors were ubiquitous in Forerunner facilities. These hills are riddled with support stations for the Sanghelios Guardian. Palmer has the coordinates of one such station. Finding a constructor there should be simple.
Status report?
Leave me.
Ready when you are, Osiris.
We're ready, Commander Palmer.
Okay, let's go.
See what I mean? This isn't even the shortest mission in the game. It just emphasises how little they seem to have cared about the actual campaign. There are only 15 missions as it is, and 2 of them are of this length. I got through the entire game in less than 5 hours. There's one word that just about sums up my feelings for this game altogether. Pointless. Halo 5 is the most run-of-the-mill Halo game ever. It's short, set-piece heavy, and bland. 343 seem to have been very focused on creating new mechanics and making the game run at 60 FPS, but completely forgotten to make an enjoyable experience while doing it. Honestly, outside of the obvious it makes money, I don't see why they continued the Halo series after 3. If you've never played a Halo game, don't bother. If you love the Halo franchise, and I mean really love it, wait until it's less than £15. Right now, the game just isn't worth it. Thanks for watching.
It took you long enough.